Hey guys, T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review. Sorry it's been a while, but I've been busy with some things like vacations and just other things that have kept me preoccupied. I did film 3 reviews though that I was going to post to spread out a little bit, but unfortunately when I went back to edit them, I found out that the combination of this camera and my laptop didn't like each other very much, so the frame rate would slow down every now and then, and periodically the voice actually would drop and slow down and made it sound like I was a robot that lost batteries. So I apologize for, my little hiatus there, but hopefully I'll be bringing out more reviews soon as my weekends end up becoming a little more free. That being said, I am here to do a review on the Generations release of Red Alert. Now, we got a Henkei version of Red Alert. Unfortunately, my wallet wasn't really willing to buy that one at the time, so I had to wait for the Generations release and watch videos of people who had the Henkei version. One of the notable videos I saw was from one of my friends here, and I will try to quote what he said, where he felt that the blue is arguably the most important color and white would be the least important. And the only thing I can say for that is you, sir, have never seen a Gundam series where white is clearly the most important color and blue is the least important color. Besides, this is a firefighting vehicle. I mean, it's not like we've ever seen a blue fire truck before. Anyway, I was happy to see, though, that I can report to my friend that with the Generations release, we did see a nice set of improvements to the Red Alert mold, where they must have listened to him and made him a blue Lamborghini instead. Actually, it's punch counter punch. I'm just kidding. You actually end up getting more white on the real Generations release. On the Henkei, this red stripe actually goes around the whole lower front part of the bumper there. So if you didn't like the white before, you're not going to like it now, because you see more. And in fact, the blue, the only blue exposed on the alt mode was actually the windshield, which is now a much more transparent blue. So not only do you have more white, but you have less blue. So I'm sorry to tell you, you're going to hate it more, buddy. But the one thing that is an improvement, and I was asked when I asked for permission to make sure I could kind of call him out a little on the video, was to point out that that horrible chrome bumper, and by bumper he meant spoiler, was actually removed and it's just a flat white one. The other changes with the mold obviously are the stickers on the side have changed, so it's not really the Red Alert looking stickers. I would be willing to bet that there will be a release from Repro Labels that'll fix that. The light bar is your stock Prowl / ratchet type bar, and that is pretty much it for the alt mode as far as I know. I could be wrong. One thing I'm not sure of is on the back license plate there it says 05 Alert. Now I know obviously what alert stands for, he's Red Alert, but I have no idea what the 05 stands for. I tried to look it up online and I could find nothing. Yeah, if anyone knows that, post that in the comments, because I have no idea. I think there was an Alternators toy or the Binaltech version that was released in 05, but I don't know why you would reference that. So I have no idea what this means. I do have punch counter punch here sitting on my desk for a reason. It wasn't that corny joke at the beginning. One of my concerns was that this mold is probably the most overused mold in the whole Generations Classics universe line there is. We've seen it as BotCon exclusives, we've seen it Sideswipe, Sunstreaker, the Henkei version of this mold, and Punch Counter Punch. Now I was really excited for Punch Counter Punch, just because of the character, and when I got it, he had a lot of issues of things being very loose. So as much as I wanted Red Alert, I was still really worried that he was going to have these looseness issues. So let's transform him to robot mode, and we will see if those fears are true or not. Alright, and we are back with the robot mode, and I'm happy to report that he is a surprisingly stiff character considering that the mold was overused. You can see that my punch counter punch has his own sets of problems where he can't even hold his arm up without it falling. This leg piece takes very, very little pressure to actually start turning. The left leg is pretty strong, but the right one just kind of swivels very, very freely. So I was really worried that I was going to see that happen on Red Alert, and fortunately it does not. And he comes out looking pretty nice in my opinion. I do have a couple little gripes with him, but he is a pretty solid looking figure all in all. The first thing that I don't like though is that his head is 100% identical to Sideswipe's. Which is fine, I suppose, because I heard in the comics he's now sporting a black head versus the old G1 red head. I would have preferred to see the red head just because, to me, it feels more like Red Alert, and the black head just feels more like Sideswipe. But I suppose that's a minor little quibble, but I may go ahead and alter that myself. The next thing that kind of bugs me a little is as we go down the shoulder pads here, which you can see they're white, and you move down, you get to the forearm here, which is actually molded in gray plastic. Again, going back to Sideswipe, that's molded in white. In terms of Red Alert, I would have liked to have seen that in white. I know it's molded in white on the Henkei. Now down here, when we get to his shins, again, we're back to the gray plastic, which appears to be a little bit different because it seems darker than the forearm plastic. It just could be the lighting, I suppose. And we replaced the blue pads, which, like I said, I know you're a big fan of blue. He's got even less of it. We've replaced it with the red, which overall doesn't look too bad in my opinion. I like the effect there. Again, I still would have liked to have seen the upper legs, the thighs, in white there. But what can you do? When we look at Sideswipe here, it's going to be hard to get this detail, but you can see he's got a little bit of paint apps to the crotch area. Red Alert has absolutely none, which is a little bit disappointing. I would have liked to have seen at least a little bit of a paint app there, but it's not too bad. Now, when I was doing some research on this guy on the wiki, they had said that the peg hole in his shoulder was removed so you could no longer fit anything in his shoulder, well, his gun in his shoulder. And I found that not to be true. It actually slid in there really easy. I didn't have to force it or anything. Yeah, it was a nice, easy hold. He does come with one extra accessory, and that is the backpack type thing that really goes with Sunstreaker. And it's kind of problematic because it's an alt mode only accessory. There's no place to plug it in here because of the light bar. There's just nothing you can do with it on here. You can see if you look at the light bar, it's mounted in the holes that this backpack's actually supposed to go on. So it's kind of a worthless accessory, and I don't really care much for how it looks when it's in alt mode. So a while back, I actually ended up picking up the Gear of War accessory set, which the first one, the weapon set, and I can't really recommend it very much. I didn't like the set. But you can also add those still on. Of course, they're sized to fit that. The missile is kind of big, and the quality of the pack is pretty low, so I don't recommend it. But if you do have the G3 trailer from Fans Project, you can of course add that to them. A much nicer looking missile, and it still fits, and it looks really nice on Red Alert in my opinion, and replaces that little bit of missing Henkei chrome and puts it at least in an area where it makes sense. If Fans Project ever watches the video, which I doubt they will, but if they ever did, they totally should re-release just the chromed weapons from the G3 trailer as something you can purchase separate, because it really makes a lot of these figures come to life there. I'd buy it even with the Grimlock sword over and over again just to have it multiple times. But it looks really good on Red Alert here. So, overall, I guess my impressions of Red Alert is I'm happy to have him. I'm happy to only had to have paid $12 for him versus 60 plus. I probably will be customizing the head here just a little bit. But other than that, he's a really solid release for a Generations toy, and I'm really happy to see that the Lamborghini mold, even though it's been way overused, is not nearly as loose as something that I did pay whatever it was, $60 or whatever for. So, a little disappointing there. But, yep, this is Generations Red Alert. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Look, guys, I know you're real cool characters, but you're just too white. I'm sorry.